Day before is always hard. Too much time to worry.
You think we're scared?
I know you are.
Yeah, you wouldn't be human if you weren't afraid.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, Tasty Morsels. It's your first BLT here. Welcome back to the channel. I am continuing my binge watch of the second arc of Andor with episode 5, which is entitled The Axe Forgets, which is a very ominous title. I believe that references, I don't know if it's exact wording, but I think that references an actual existing proverb about basically just how, like, you know, like the sort of like the power that enforces things, that carries out sentencing and everything else, does not remember. So, like, you know, or to put it another way, you guys remember the from that Street Fighter movie? You remember the for me it was Tuesday speech or Wednesday or whatever? Yes! From the point of view of the person who is being harmed, the memory is intense and powerful and never really goes away, and it informs everything about their life from the moment they suffered the trauma. But often from the perspective of the person who inflicted the trauma, it's meaningless. It's a trivial thing. You know, they do so much cruelty, they inflict so much pain that your pain wasn't special. You know what I mean? It's not going to be remembered at all. The axe forgets. Last episode, we had Cassian under the guise of Clem, and I'm still thinking of him as Clementine. That's just, in my head, he's Clementine now.
I'm gonna stab you with those scissors.
Him trying to integrate into this small group of resistance fighters who are planning to take down, or well, to infiltrate a garrison, an Imperial garrison, and steal the payroll. And I still can't get over the fact that their payroll is physical. That just boggles my mind. It's like, I mean, come on now. You're a super advanced sci-fi civilization. Why are you paying everybody in physical money that could be stolen? You know? But granted, I guess, you know, maybe it's a precaution against the fact that they have droids, now that I think about it. So maybe you could program these incredibly sophisticated computers to alter currency if it's purely digital. So maybe having physical payroll actually makes more sense than I gave it credit for. The group is, you know, reflects different perspectives and attitudes about the involvement of Clem at such a late stage in their planning. You have some members who are more willing to give him a chance than others. Some members who are more suspicious of the fact that this is happening than others. And it's interesting watching that tension. I think that's being fairly well played off. Vel is interesting. I believe her as someone who can keep those people in line through force and personality, though I do want to know what her story is, and I'm sure we're going to get that. This feels definitely like the type of series so far where we get people's motivations and backstories, and we get to understand them as three-dimensional. I don't know if we're going to get that for everyone in her group, though, because that is a lot of people, and it is difficult to give every character adequate time for you to feel that they're all well-rounded when you've got like a larger group of people like that. Even though it is technically a small group of people, but trust me, when it comes to characterization or anything, was it 5 or 6 different people in that group? That's a lot. And especially considering that we still have, you know, people like Karn, who I'm convinced still has a story going forward, and Stellan Skarsgård's character, whose name was told to us, but I forgot. And also we have a new senator now, too, who's working with Stellan Skarsgård.
This is Senator Mon Mothma.
We got a lot of people whose characterization we're going to be working on. So yeah, it's only inevitable that some people are going to get less character work than others. It's just one of those things we have to accept. Oh yeah, and I forgot, we also have a hard-charging Imperial officer who wants to follow up leads that she thinks are going to suss out the beginnings of a rebellion because of the Starpath unit that was recovered in the clusterfuck that happened on Ferrix. And we see how the Empire's devotion to bureaucracy and just, you know, streamlining everything and looking good, looking like you're very efficient and on the ball, rather than necessarily following through on things that, you know, might be a little disruptive but might get better results. How that seems like it's setting the seeds for, at least some of the seeds for their downfall. And I like that because all too often I think that aspect of how empires and, you know, other massive entities fall is overlooked. You know, people tend to think of them as, they fall because people got tired of how oppressive they were, or they fall because, they overextended and couldn't pay for things or whatever. But they forget to really think about how the underlying organizational structure, how their bureaucracy works, is often the biggest part of how they fall. And I think that's really cool that the show's actually like kind of focusing on that a bit. It's not something that you see very often.
Are you in all the way?
Let's get to it.
Have you ever noticed how many of the plots in movies and shows that really stick with you are basically heist stories? It's just a classic story archetype that we all enjoy. Watching people try to come up with an idea for how to steal something, and then watching them execute that idea, and seeing all the ways that all the different challenges that pop up while they're trying to do it. A new day is dawning for you, Karn. I find myself wondering whether that sun was real, or like a simulation to make the people who live here feel like they live higher up. Blue milk!
By the time you remember to sit up straight, it's too late. You might as well wear a sign that says, "I promise to disappoint you." Shame we couldn't have seen more of each other when you were flourishing.
Oh my god.
I intuit you have no future prospects.
I've forgotten the precision of your predictive powers.
You've remembered how to mock me.
Forgotten how sensitive you can be.
Perhaps you've forgotten my question, do you have even a single prospect before you?
Okay, so there's a stereotype I'm thinking of that I think that his mom is modeled after, but I won't say it. You guys know which one I'm thinking of, though.
And you think he'll talk to you?
I know he will. And he'll know why I called. And he'll respect me for having waited so long in asking and being so prudent about my request.
Yeah, she's a natural politicker.
Someone who'll take you on, Cyril.
Setting the bar high.
Cyril. Okay.
Uncle Harlow will know what's best.
I always find myself wondering what Star Trek food tastes like.
What did you say?
Star Trek. Like, is it delicious, or is it weird and gross, or both?
It's all there. Bill asked me to have a look. I think she's having second thoughts. Go talk to her if you want.
I think he's really just more unnerved that you were able to get all that off of him without him knowing.
You know what this means, don't you? Yeah,
Prisoner,
so
huh?
your eyes go right to it.
Great head.
So where were you?
Sipo. Youth Center. 3 years. I was 13 when I went in.
Oh, another soldier.
No?
They built a lot of cages, huh? The axe forgets, but the tree remembers.
That's the rest of the parable.
Now it's our turn to do the chopping.
So that's it. That's why you're here? Revenge?
Yeah, that's good enough for now.
So pretty classic motivation.
I didn't mark you for a team player.
It always breaks at the weakest point.
Are you worried about the kids? Nemec's a surprise. He's green, but he's all in. He's a true believer. And there's Cinta. She is stone cold and fearless. Probably the toughest one here.
Interesting, because she definitely doesn't feel that way.
She's already sharing a blanket, if that's what you're wondering.
I mean, I would have been wondering too. There's a lot of attractive women in this show.
You could be walking us right into a trap.
They would have taken us down by now. Well, maybe that's what you're here for.
Maybe that's what you're here for. A lot of people project.
I'm here to win and walk away.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
If he is as he seems, he's looking for a way to die. He doesn't expect to survive, but he wants to go out in a way that feels right, if that makes sense.
Did you eat?
When would that have happened? Just came down.
Take something for the ride.
What?
We need to be going.
Oh, change in plan. You're taking me, right?
Clear it with her.
Enjoying this?
You're only doing it to show off.
What?
Just go.
What would I be showing off?
You're involved somehow.
It's something you see actually a lot with really high up family units. A lot of times they're so busy pursuing the different things that they do to make money or climb the ladder, that their families they're not very tightly knit, you know? They run more like businesses.
That's just so hurtful.
See? There you go. It's all about you, isn't it? It's always all about you.
Is this really how you'd like to start the day?
I didn't choose this conversation.
I so appreciate the support.
Oh no, your husband's an agent of chaos. I think he's just trying to create excitement for himself, honestly.
You can live on it. You may question your existence after a few days.
A Polaroid!
Just how old are you?
I don't know what it's supposed to be in this universe, but it's a Polaroid.
And true, and sturdy. One of the best navigational tools ever built. We've grown reliant on Imperial tech, and we've made ourselves vulnerable. There's a growing list of things we've known and forgotten, things they've pushed us to forget. Things like freedom.
Wow, dude, you really are a true believer.
Skeen pretends not to listen, but I know the message is sinking in.
He's writing a manifesto. Apparently the only thing keeping us from liberty is a few more ideas.
A few more ideas. The pace of repression outstrips our ability to understand it, and that is the real trick of the Imperial thought machine. It's easier to hide behind 40 atrocities than a single incident.
It is a fact that no rebellion will succeed without philosophers. You need people who can shape thoughts to get the masses on the side of the rebellion movement.
How would I know the weight? Is this a test?
It's a simple question.
You don't know how to get it off the runway, do you?
We know how to fly it.
Yeah, but you gotta get it up there first.
Answer the question.
He's like a British version of the old football player. Was his Hightower or something?
There's a gauge just below to read out the weight.
Why isn't this in the manual?
Because it's a custom job. It's an add-on. What were you gonna do if I wasn't here?
It's good that there happened to be something like this because it helps to demonstrate his value to the group, that he has knowledge that none of them really had. They did take some sheep and just like put a little prosthetic over their heads with some extra horns and stuff, like a little knit cap.
Objective number 1. The door at the base of the tower.
It's good to see that these guys do a lot of
now, the real thing has a downhill
prep
pitch,
work, you know?
but
A lot of actual like sort of
down there,
running through what they're planning to do.
the old temple.
Now they just need to do an actual physical run.
Let's walk it again at speed.
You should switch.
What?
He's left-handed. Should swap sides.
Why don't you get a handle on what we're doing here before you start making suggestions?
Why switch sides?
Skin is left-handed. You want your weapon on the outside.
What am I?
Right-handed.
Fine. Let's switch.
I'm just wondering why on earth they're walking around with their rifles pointing at each other's heads.
Cover the guns!
Could still be an issue just because they probably saw
I don't think so.
people out there. Hopefully that was just a flyboy being an asshole buzz over, but
They'll soon see. Surprise from above is never as shocking as one from below.
damn kid. I see why they've got you wearing a red cap. Now, what are you going to report when you go back? Will this increase security?
Not too many Darnies to worry about anymore, though, eh? How many do you think we'll have tomorrow?
I don't know. It's less than 100 last time.
Still enough to smell them, right?
Ugh.
Imagine this place with a couple of thousand of them.
Yes. I can.
Just the freaking jingoism of the Empire, man.
How's your arm?
It's good. You're a healer.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm just moving your stuff.
Don't.
It was in the way.
Don't ever.
Hey, you can dress yourself.
Who packed these charges?
That would be me.
Okay, so far, Cinta does not seem like a hard case.
Prepare to be surprised.
Now, what did I miss while I was gone?
The Finkley conference.
I thought for sure they were gonna like bump shoulders against each other all like passive aggressively.
I don't know what I'm doing. About any of it.
Yes, you do. You're onto something. Kessel. Fondor. Targeting consoles from Jakku. Proton warheads from Base K. The Steerguard star path.
He's right, though. It's too spread out to be organized.
But you don't believe
No,
that?
not necessarily. If you want people to overlook something, you're gonna do that. You're gonna spread it out as much as you can.
If I was them, this is how I'd do it. I'd spread it out. Never climb the same fence twice.
It's too random to be random.
I like that. Too random to be random.
2 more files each.
You taking stems? Better talk to Dr. Franklin about how that works out. Almost a little bit of symbolism there. And there you go. Starting to be accepted. It's interesting how he has like specific moments that get him accepted by each person.
To the rebellion.
To the rebellion.
Just another call out to the score of this series. Someone's doing some great work on that front.
I needn't tell you how wrong you were about Uncle Harlow.
But you will.
He said he never felt police work was your chosen path.
What field is it he thinks I should be pursuing?
He said he wanted to think about it.
Is it going to be law or medicine?
That's racist.
I told him how sorry you were about what happened. I stressed that it was a large enough mistake to be deeply educational.
Yes, I heard some of that.
He knows how much we're counting on him.
Politics is everything, even when you're dealing with families. Oh, they took a lot of inspiration from like was it like Mongolian
Emergency comm signal.
and Tibetan cultures here.
Clear signal.
My turn. Lieutenant Gorn. What's an Imperial lieutenant doing getting involved with this?
What difference does it make?
Everyone else seems to know.
He fell in love with a local woman, lost a promotion. Then he lost the woman. Then he lost his taste for the Empire.
Revenge.
Everyone has their own rebellion.
Oh, it's another good line. Everyone has their own rebellion.
I see the gantry still unpainted. I've spoken to them about it, sir, and yet it remains undone. With an engineering officer from Coruscant arriving today and in our business. Let's see if painting it tomorrow night will make the point more clearly. Sir.
It's not many people's first choice assignment. The thing you hear when posted to Aldani is that perhaps you'll be lucky enough to be there for the Eye.
The idea of being this close and not seeing it. And I know we can't all be up there, but I fear morale might be crushed by having anything more than an essential roster down here tomorrow night.
I want it painted the day after tomorrow.
Clever.
Here midday, and I expect to see it.
That was so fucking
Make sure the men know how
clever.
close they've come.
He manipulated them into thinking that it was they wore him down into producing this like light schedule, so no one would even be suspicious of it. That was brilliant. It's definitely some excellent writing going on in this show. The calm before the storm.
Don't move. Because you know what'll happen.
Hey, what are you doing?
There we go. He comes here with nothing but the clothes on his back and a stone worth 30,000 credits.
If you have a problem, you come to me.
Here I am.
See, a skein is a thing that holds water.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
I wonder why they named him that.
Who brings a treasure to a robbery?
We don't have time for this.
I need to know who I'm riding with.
You know exactly who I am, and you know I'll kill you for it.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we know it's not a fake, huh?
It's your call.
Let's not go too far, Clem.
I just want what's mine.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot.
Put the weapon away. Give him the stone. You can kill each other later.
I'm being paid. You need to know? That's it.
You knew this.
The choice was take him or call it off.
Call it off.
You should have told us days ago.
Just would have been something else.
What's that mean?
The day before is always hard. Too much time to worry.
You think we're scared?
I know you are.
You wouldn't be human if you weren't afraid.
There's a difference between fear and losing your nerve. You want out of this. Make a choice. Don't use me as an excuse.
Cinta.
No. She didn't tell me.
Oh, you're sharing your bedroll with her. Okay. It's a subtle little way of revealing that bit of information. Meanwhile, on Coruscant.
When were you planning to tell me about this new foundation?
Didn't think you'd be interested.
Why is that?
It's charitable.
Damn. Marriage of convenience. These two do not like each other. The lookouts of places like this don't have thermal imaging. These guys should not be able to get this close to this place without being seen, even at night. Uh-oh. Be careful of Captain Ahab. That obsession's already screwed you over once. Guess it's a good thing he's the only person up here keeping watch. Dude, you need to keep watch over your back a little better.
She wants me to tell you about my brother.
No, his reason for being here.
What matters is they killed him. He was a farmer. Imperial prefect came in, took his land, flooded it. He couldn't fight him. He couldn't bear it, so he went in a boat and filled his pockets with stones.
Damn.
I always hated the Empire. I don't really know what to call how I feel now.
Blinding rage.
What kind of farm?
Hot question.
Pepper trees. Centuries of them.
Centuries. Oh man, that's an archaic term. I think a century is like a bunch of hectares of land, which in and of itself is also kind of archaic. Or maybe not archaic, but just like something that like no one's gonna hear that and really know what it is.
FarmersOnly.com.
Good luck to you.
No farewells tonight. Plenty of work to do together tomorrow.
Gonna say your goodbyes to Cinta? Oh, she's coming with. Okay, never mind. I forgot she wasn't in the group when they were practicing their drilling.
That's what she said.
I always thought this kind of listening equipment is detectable by sort of like the interference that it gives out.
I thought you were turning it off.
I was just going to.
You want to be useful? Go clean some coins.
Happy?
So how long have you guys known each other?
I don't like seeing you nervous. There's nothing else you can do, Luthen. They're either going to be okay out there or they're not.
What? That's a daring prediction.
Bell's the only one who traces back.
No. The thief, Andor. I wasn't careful.
This is what it took. It's never going to be perfect.
I wanted it too much.
It'll all be over this time tomorrow.
Nah, it's only just beginning.
Or would it just be starting?
So is anybody watching them from over across the way through this window? I wouldn't have had my listening device right next to an open window. Sitting here just like listening to whatever with the window right there. If anybody does suspect you, they're gonna be like, what the hell's that guy doing? Another really interesting episode. Furthering the little interpersonal relationships with Cassian and the group he's in, giving us a little bit more of those crucial character beats that I was talking about, so we understand who each of them is and how they relate to each other, how they will relate to Cassian. Bold choice having him just flat out admit why he was there. At first I thought it was dumb, but then the more I thought about it, I realized that it was actually pretty smart for him to do that. Because everyone knew there was something, and not knowing what that something was, that like little secret about why he's there, was just going to wear away at everybody until they got an answer. So it was smart of him to say, you know what, let's just go ahead and put all our cards on the table. And then it was also smart for Vel to send Skeen over to talk about his past a little bit, to sort of like create a little bit of a bond between them in a sense, like, you know, the bond through vulnerability. Because Cassian did take a risk by telling them that, yeah, I'm basically a paid mercenary while the rest of you are here because of deep personal reasons. That sort of a revelation had a lot of potential to blow up really badly and could have got him killed. As Skeen alluded to several times, you know, that like one wrong move by him and basically, yeah, they would just take it upon themselves to nix him. Karn's story is I bet a lot of people got bored with Karn's story in this episode, but I think that the way that they did it was deliberately meant to evoke a sense of boredom. We're supposed to be feeling the monotony and the loss of purpose and everything that he is feeling right now. I do think it's interesting that they're going so far to try and make him a human character. I do like that about this series so far. It was one of the things that I always, even though I understood it because Star Wars, as I've talked about before, is a, you know, ultimately at its core is despite, you know, how serious certain parts of it will get like this, but Star Wars at its core is a black and white morality tale basically for kids. And so you're not usually going to have your bad guys be nuanced and fully fleshed out three-dimensional people. And I will say Karn still hasn't quite gotten all the way to that level yet because we still don't know enough about him. But he definitely is much more of a real person than we typically get in this universe. You know, he's not mustache twirling evil. And also our new character, whose name I'm blanking on, who's trying to figure out what's going on with the nascent rebellion, which is nascent the right word? Anyway, with the rebellion starting to form, is also coming across as a very believable character, even though we don't have a lot of, you know, backstory with her or anything. There's just a lot of good character work going on in this show. They take their moments, they keep them brief, but they pack a lot into those moments, and I think that's really good. It's very, very good writing in this series so far. So next episode, I'm assuming, will be all about, you know, them trying to make this heist work. Like I said, I'm certain that it's going to get it's going to be a clusterfuck for some reason, and I'm curious to see how it's going to go. I think Karn is going to try to make a play to improve his life along his own terms rather than... I think he'll probably actually try to listen to his mother first, but like I think ultimately he's going to try to like get back into something similar to what he's been doing, or maybe make the case that, you know, he shouldn't have been punished the way he was for what he did, or for how things went badly on Ferrix. And if he does go that route, of course, I expect the fist of the Empire to really like come down harder on him for that than it has so far. And I don't know. I've got the feeling that, they literally said his name and then I forgot again. Luthen. There we go.
He did it! He fucking did it!
I have a feeling that Luthen's about to get discovered, and I'm wondering how bad it's going to be. Like how many people are going to go down with him when he finally gets like revealed to be this, you know, central piece to this rebellion that's forming. Let me know, as always, what you guys thought of this episode. Either whether you're following along with it for the first time like me, or whether you've already seen it. What did you think when you saw it? And obviously, if you are at the same place as I am, share your speculation about what's going to happen. And if you want to talk to people, like if you are further ahead, if you want to talk to other people who are further ahead, just remember, as always, to use your spoiler space, mark a warning. Also, it's helpful to say, like, you know, how far your spoilers go. So, like, for instance, if you've seen up to episode 9, or what you're talking about is some, you know, episode 9 spoilers or whatever, say that in your spoiler tag. So, you know, like spoiler for, you know, up to episode 9 or whatever, and then just leave like 3 or 4 lines of space. It just helps a lot to keep people fresh who just don't know yet. It preserves our ability to be surprised by plot developments coming down the line. But you guys are always great about it. I just put these reminders in, mainly for new people who just don't know how I like to try to do things when it comes to spoilers. Thanks so much, guys, for joining me on this. Make sure to check back next time for episode 6 and the closeout of the second arc. And yeah, I'll see you then. As always, do your best to stay safe and be well. And I'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.